Let's take a brief tour of the options you have for viewing point clouds when you've got them loaded into your CAD drawing. Because we're loading the Cyclone database directly into a CAD drawing, you can use familiar CAD controls for viewing things. So I'm using my middle mouse button here to do a pan, or if I double click my middle mouse, it zooms to extents. If I roll my middle mouse wheel, it will zoom in towards wherever I'm holding the cursor. Because when you're dealing with point clouds, you're often dealing with the third dimension, there are some more advanced options that you'll want to know about. Over here on the View ribbon, we've got the Predefined View on the Views toolbar, and this is kind of handy for quickly setting either a top-down view, or in this case I might want to do a front view where I turn everything on its side. This is very handy just for flipping between different predefined views. Because this toolbar is separate from the point cloud toolbar, sometimes it's handy to have this tool available on a toolbar. And so I can do that. I'm going to do a right click here, and I'm going down to where the view toolbar is, because I actually like to have this just over here parked on the side, and that allows me to access the same functions just without having to flip between ribbons. Now, while we're still on the View menu, you'll see that we also have the Constrained Orbit function. And so I can start that function just by picking it, and as I hold down my left mouse button, it allows me to sort of orbit around things. Or, I'm going to hit Escape here. You can activate more or less the same function simply by holding down your Control key and your left mouse button. And what this will do is it will pick sort of a convenient view center, and it'll orbit things around that, that convenient view center. Now, there are cases where you might want to redefine that view center. For example, perhaps you want to have a look at some detail in another part of the point cloud. So that's where this function comes in, set center of rotation. When I highlight that, what that allows me to do is turn on my snaps, and I can snap to either a point cloud item or there might be something in a CAD drawing, and it'll just grab the coordinates. And so that makes it so that now when I hold down the Control key and the left mouse, you can see how that little world icon has shifted to that new location, so that if I wanted to get some detail on that, it makes it much more convenient. In addition to setting the center of rotation, I can reset the center of rotation, and I can also use some options here just to tell it to orbit around a particular axis instead. So here you'll notice how I have a different icon when I'm picking that function. Okay, and then of course the View toolbar, always handy just to get everything back to a familiar starting point. Now let's switch over to the point cloud ribbon, and we'll have a look at some more point cloud specific viewing options. First of all, you can see this scan. I've loaded it up using the default intensity mapping option. I've got other choices there. I can switch to color from scanner for something that's more photorealistic. So now it's going to use the color that was taken when a panoramic image was taken during the scanning process. I can also ask for intensity mapping. That's what we were looking at before. And what intensity mapping does is it uses color to represent the level of reflectivity of the different materials that were being scanned. One other option is grayscale. I can use grayscale to represent that same intensity value. Now we have some other controls that'll affect how your point cloud is being viewed. At any point, if you zoom in on a particular part of a drawing, if you hit the regen button, then that'll reload your point cloud to maximum density. If you have a Jetstream license, this step is unnecessary. It'll always give you maximum density. There are times in a project when sometimes it's convenient just to turn the point cloud off so that you can have a look at your CAD drawing, and that's what this button here is intended for. The display of point cloud size is sometimes handy to be able to manipulate. If your point clouds are not particularly dense, you can use a larger point cloud, a larger dot to represent the point cloud node, and that'll sometimes give you something that's more photorealistic. You also have controls over what density is loaded up, and that's a way of allowing you to speed up regen times. Density off will always load up the maximum density, but if you switch it to a lower setting, then you'll find that your point cloud is a little more sparse, and it also loads and regens more quickly. All right, and so that's all that I wanted to show you for now, and please be sure to watch the movie on clipping that will follow up on this one.